Well, I got a good sweat going. It looks like I just started because I just got here on the video, but I've been going for 1.5 miles. And I'm going to tell you, it's so funny how before you start to go do your exercise, your body can make so many excuses for why you don't need to be doing it. First, my foot was hurting, and it was telling me, you don't want to walk today, you don't want to walk, don't do it, don't go. I ignored it. Threw on 24 pounds on the vest, the highest I've walked with so far, and decided to say, screw it, I'm going to get up and do it. And I've got my first 1.5 miles in, on my way back now. I also got all 100 of my squats in today with the extra 24 pounds on. So it feels really good to be at this point in my walk when I've gotten the hard part out of the way and I can come talk to you for a moment. I didn't want to go too much into exercise today, but I know I like to be able to be here to motivate those of you who are still finding your way into exercise because of the motivation of my videos, so I don't want to leave you out. But I wanted to talk to you today about something I mentioned in a previous video about lectins. Lectins were something I didn't know. I didn't even know they existed before doing this diet. And I didn't know anything about oxalates either. And as much as I've studied about oxalates, I'm not sure I really do know about oxalates yet. It seems to be such a mysterious thing, but I do know that when I eat foods high in oxalates, my body doesn't tend to react very good. And also, when I eat foods high in lectins, I have reactions sometimes that can be very painful. And another term that I didn't really know very well before starting this diet was what leaky gut meant. There didn't seem to be any defined notion of it that I'd ever been aware of, and my doctors had never mentioned it. But after learning about lectins, and I'm going to share an article in the description that I read that I found very informative, much more informative than I can be in a walk and talk video trying to remember everything that it said. So I encourage you to check it out. Like how lectins are in a lot of foods that we eat all the time. If you eat processed foods or you eat out a lot, things like tomatoes. Tomatoes are in just about everything. Grains have lectins, wheat, grains, and soy. Soy is in a lot of things. Mayonnaise. I didn't know mayonnaise was made from soy until I started this diet, which is so funny because it was a staple on the Atkins diet. Something that I used to eat a lot of back then, but I don't touch that anymore. But the bottom line is lectins are basically, first of all, something I didn't know, gluten is a form of a lectin. They're carbohydrate binding proteins or something like that. I forget exactly what they are. But that's basically what they are. They're carbohydrate binding proteins that are on the surface of the seeds of vegetables and also in the vegetables to protect them from getting eaten. It also protects them from being digested when the seed is going through another animal or human. It allows the seed to be able to come out and still be able to produce fruit, to produce a new plant, even though it's been digested. Well, our bodies can't digest lectins, and a common issue that occurs with people who have any type of inflammatory disease or inflammatory issues, which I never had any diagnosed, but I guarantee you I was having some inflammation, whether it was from all the processed foods or the vegetables or the lectins or what, but I was getting inflammation from my diet, no doubt. And that tends to, combined with the effect of digesting food itself, especially food with roughage like vegetables, it actually causes damage to the inner lining of your intestines. And that damage normally is healed by a normal process. But lectins can inhibit that process. And once that process is inhibited enough, the little fibers, the holes in the fibers in your intestines get larger and larger, until it allows things into your bloodstream that you don't want in your bloodstream. And lectins is one of those things you don't want in your bloodstream because your immune system will try to fight it off. And that's going to cause you to be fatigued and tired and feel sick. So whenever people talk to you about why you don't want to eat vegetables, I think this would be a great article for you to reference and a great bit of information you could share with people who have probably never heard anything like it, just like I hadn't. But this just brings me to one other area that I think we ought to be focusing on, is really getting to know what it is about the food we eat that is so bad for us. I had somebody that asked me today in one of the comments, was any suggestions for how to switch to an all meat-based diet when they found it to be so repugnant initially. And I think it has a lot to do with what goes on in our mind. If you've convinced yourself that something is bad for you, or propaganda from advertising and media has convinced you that something is bad for you that's not bad for you, it's very easy to avoid that thing like the plague and to find it repugnant, the way I did with salt before this diet, and now I can't get enough salt. So it's a remarkable thing. Same thing goes with liver. I knew liver was supposed to be good for me, but I also knew it didn't taste good. And once I got used to a diet like this, it wasn't just the mind tricking me about the food, it was also my taste buds were used to eating sugar and garbage that would make liver taste awful. So again, my mind was thinking something that wasn't true and causing me not to want to eat something. So if you learn about the things that are in your food, and you learn about things like lectins and oxalates, but also become an ingredients inspector, come to find out how things like manufactured citric acid, which whenever you see the words citric acid on the ingredients on a package of food, it's manufactured, you can guarantee it. Manufactured citric acid does not come from oranges or something like that. It comes from a fungus, and it's very high in inflammatory factors for your body. It causes a lot of inflammation. Other things like potassium bromide, which we talked about in a previous video kind of humorously, touching on the TV show Fringe. But there's other things out there, and it's not really funny because we're literally putting poisons in our food. And I noticed that the thing that really kind of got my wife to stop picking up things off the shelf was that she would look at the front of the box and see what was being advertised and think, that's good, I'll get that for me and my family. But then when I had her actually take the time to stop looking at the advertising on the front, turn the box around and read what the ingredients are, and look up what the ingredients are and what they do. Once you get to where you know what those ingredients do, you'll start to see them, and you'll just be like, why would I want to eat this? And it'll change that way of thinking that you have about the food that you think is good for you, because we've been lied to by the food industry for so long, because we've been lied to by medical professionals and supposed experts in nutrition for so long. You've got to take control of your own life, figure out what's working and not working for you, so that you can get in the shape that you want to be in, that you need to be in, that your family needs you to be in. So screw it, get up and do it. Now's the time. If you haven't taken it seriously about getting your diet in order, now's the time. If you haven't started going on a walk or getting some kind of exercise, at least 30 minutes a day, spend some time getting a little exercise so that you won't feel it so bad when you get older, so that you'll be able to get up when you need to. What are you waiting for? Now's the time. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
If we pay extra, could we maybe get some grease or fat?